Alrighty, I gotta turn the volume down. Hi everybody. We are, where's my volume? Oh, it's over here. We are here with Evan, and I just started to remove her old color and realized, oh, this might be a fun one to video. So welcome. We're going to, oh my gosh, it's still, the noise is not going away. It says it is. Let's see if this goes away. All right. So these were her last set. Let me see the other hand. These were her last set, which I used a whole bunch of glitz, the gel play colors. So this is like, I think this is pink diamond and blue tanzanite and yellow citrine. So a bunch of these that are just from the gel play collection of the glitz, which we do have a mini set still. We do have a couple of those left. So if you wanted a mini, you could try them out. But I just dabbed those on last time, made a fun little rainbow situation. So yeah, they just disappear. I don't know how to make them not disappear. So you'll have to just watch for them. So she's going to watch for comments if anyone has questions, but we are going to get started. So it's been a minute since I've done a video. So hopefully some information will be helpful to someone. She chose a really fun vertical fade and with clouds, so we're going to be doing that. And I'm just using my zebra sanding bands from my website that I love so very much, and a standard mandrel. And she does make them pointy almond, so I'm gonna go through and shorten them just a smidge for the grow out. So I typically, when I get around the cuticle, you guys can see there's a little halo of sparkle. I don't like to make rings of fire, so I feather with my e-file very lightly like this, almost like you're coloring, and it prevents you from any damage on their natural nail. I was afraid to use an e-file for a really long time when I started doing nails 20 years ago, which is crazy to me to say that out loud. I didn't use one for 6, 7, 8 years. And I was afraid of the rings of fire because I had had my nails done and gotten rings of fire lots of times, and I did not want that. I didn't want my clients to have that. So I didn't use an e-file for a long, long time. So I developed a couple of techniques like that to make sure that I don't have a ring of fire. So again, you see there's a clear band, and I'm just very, very lightly. My e-file is probably going down to, I would say, less than 10. When I'm doing that part, it's just a really light feather. I'm using a foot pedal so I can speed it up, just like driving a car, speed it up with my foot and slow it down very quickly, very easily. So it will go from being fast to being slow without having to constantly reach over and change the dial. So if you're a busy salon worker, I highly recommend using a foot pedal. Different e-files, a lot of times now, will all just come with a battery pack. So you would have to check with whatever manufacturer you use to see if they make a foot file attachment to that. Typically you need a box. So this is the Coupa 5000. This is an old handpiece. This handpiece isn't made anymore, but they have an even better handpiece now called the KP60. And it's even skinnier than this one. It's really, really nice. So this one's my good old KP36, had it forever. With electric files, if you're busy in the salon and you use them all the time, you do need to get them maintained like a car because they're a mechanical device. And I recommend trying to get them shipped out to Bruce Atwood. He's who I use to ship all of mine out with. If you are frequent on my website, you'll see that I use Bruce for a lot of the bits that I sell, because one of the reasons is Bruce actually will test every bit that he gets when he packages it. So you know that they're concentric, that they're correct, and you're going to end up with really good bits that aren't bent or have any problems. So this is why I use Bruce's bits, and he repairs and maintains e-files. So if you have an e-file, and it doesn't have to be Bruce's e-file, I don't have any of Bruce's personally, but he maintains these ones for me. So if, you know, over time, sometimes you'll start to notice the torque isn't working as well, or something feels loose in it where you're getting vibration. You shouldn't have any vibration in your handpiece. It's one of the reasons it's worth it to spend good money on a good handpiece, because you should feel no vibration in your handpiece. If you're feeling vibration, you don't have a great handpiece to be using all day, every day in the salon. It's quiet out there. Is anyone hanging out with us? Oh, we do have some people. Everyone's so quiet. Can you guys hear me okay? I know the fan when I have the Valentino on is kind of loud. But hopefully I'm talking close enough to my phone that you're able to hear what is coming out of my mouth. So I'm obviously going to be doing most of the shaping by hand. So I'm just getting her old color off and removing a little bit. My voice volume is good. Thanks, Dottie. I appreciate it. It'll be better once I turn the fan off. But, you know, I've gotten so used to using a Valentino to remove the air. And, you know, I'm going to be changing my desktop. I'm going to do a new epoxy desktop. And I've been debating, do I get a piece of wood and make a new piece, and that way I can sink an end table system. And I decided that I actually really like that this is raised up. Oh, Nicole, her name is Devin. This is Devin's fingers. She's got cute little hands. Hi. So I decided that I actually really like that the Valentino is raised up, because my arm here is just resting on it. And it's not resting on the table. It's closer to my point of view. And I really, really like that. Some nail techs will actually keep this on their desk for the entire service. And I'm sure I could totally get used to doing that. I don't, though. I go ahead and just put it next to me. But I do love it for removal, just keeping it up and having my hand propped up. Lets my hand just rest holding her finger. And everything goes straight down.
I am neither.
Very elegant, hands down. Devin or Devin? Spelled differently than that. How is it spelled?
D-E-V-I-N.
D-E-V-I-N. I would have said that because I see it in my books, but I didn't want to be wrong. So here, I'd let you pronounce. All right. And then I always dust. Dust, 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 dust. It's the worst when you don't grab your client's hands right away, and then they take their hands and then do that, and you're like, what are you doing? I'm like, no. Please don't. Or they take their hand and they'll suddenly like wipe it on their arm, or I don't know. I'm like, just leave your hands over the thing. Let me take care of it. You get to be like jelly. All right. So handy dandy towel. And there's a lot of people who use like soft landings, which is great. I like the cushion of a traditional towel, which is why I still use a standard terry cloth towel. It's just how I've done it. All right. Taking my tools out of my disinfectant tray. I do get people that will ask what I use in my tray, and I use Let's Touch, which is fabulous because these can soak forever and they're not going to rust, which is awesome. It's a hospital grade disinfectant, so all is well. So these are the things that I pull out of my disinfectant tray every time. Pusher, my 2S prep bit, and a nipper. These are the 35 millimeter, the Smart 30s. I love these springs on them because I inevitably will constantly, if it's a different kind that has a clasp in the middle, I don't know what I do to them, but they unclasp and then they drive me crazy. So when I discovered the spring ones, I was super thrilled. I'm very pleased. Don't mind my nails. They're a good month old, and I need to redo them. I threw top coat on it on Friday, and I apparently didn't wipe off the oil that was on them well enough because I have a couple that are like pitted. I'm like, oops. But it's all right.
I found that my tools sometimes feel sticky after the lip touch solution. Am I doing something wrong?
Sticky. I've never had anything feel sticky. Are you putting them in clean? If you have any oils or soaps or anything on your tools, I would think that that's what's going to end up making them sticky, because that is strange. You want to try, so Delia said she wants to try a spring cuticle nipper like them. I love these. The Smart 30s are really popular. They have different cutting widths. So this is the 5mm. The 3mm would be about there. So it's a smaller cutting amount. And then we have 7 and I think even 9. So then it becomes longer. So that's just preference. I just grabbed the 5 when I got them and I like them. So I just stick with the 5. But some people will get different ones and decide after they try a couple which one is their favorite. And that's what they get again in the future. But, you know, it's kind of like peanut butter. You got to kind of test different things and figure out which it is that you want.
I love the spring cuticle nipper.
Hi, Charlene. You love the spring cuticle nipper. Yeah, they're so nice. Once you go spring, you don't go back. It's so nice. So like good. Okay. So we're going to be doing some fun things with her nails. She's one of those great clients who knows what she wants. Not that I don't love all of you who don't know what you want. I love you all, but it's really nice when she'll send me a text even sometimes the day of or the day before just to check and see if it's something I can do. And usually I can do something like it, so I'm not too concerned. But all right, so I'm switching to my football bit. So all I did was do a quick push on all of those to lift it off the surface. And again, this is on a foot pedal, so I don't have to touch anything, and I can make it go as fast or as slow as I want. I probably go right about in the middle for cuticle prep. Not super, super low, but not really, really high either. And I love this bit because it gets in there, lifts up the cuticle, and gets any of that excess skin that's hanging out.
Personally, my favorite part is like a little massage.
Yeah, so it's really funny because I have one client who loathes this machine of the point of this bit. She can't handle it. And it's funny, she's a dentist, right? So I think that's hilarious. But she hates it. But most of my clients really like this part because it feels, yeah, it's like a little massage. And it just, some of them just love it because they're like, ah, so clean. It just cleans everything up. So, so, so nice. When I discovered this bit, I was on cloud 9 because some of the other bits, they're really small. And I feel like they create indents into the nail, which I don't like. With this one, I can have it just at that angle. So you can see that it's the angle of the nail. And I can just run it right along. It's perfect. Perfect bit. My favorite. So she doesn't have difficult corners. If she had a corner over here that I couldn't get into because of the way her skin folds over it, I actually did it on her mom right before her. I'll flip this into reverse to if I need to get into this corner and I can't get into it. Hers are not like that, so I don't need to do that. But if you needed to, you'd want to just slow your E-file down, flip it in reverse, and then I recommend doing all of them, all the corners at once, and then put it back and forward and do the other ones because you don't want to go back and forth and back and forth. It would take forever. So if you find that you need to do a corner like that, flip it in reverse and do all of those corners at one time, and then you can finish with going the correct way. So again, it's not very high right now. You can hear that's starts off, and you heard how high it is, I'm just going about there. So it's not super high. My old KP 5000 box that I had for well over 10 years, it actually had lights on it. And depending on how hard I pressed on my foot pedal, I could see how fast it was going. The newer boxes actually don't have those lights, so I can't adequately tell you exactly how fast it goes. I just kind of go off of feel and sound, and that's kind of how it goes. So now that everything's lifted, you got to get rid of all the uglies that are on there. I'll just get very carefully. And my nipping technique is typically push up. So I'm pushing up and then cutting down. But it just takes, you know, it's some practice. I know that, I don't know if in Colorado it's still that way, but I know for a while in Colorado they couldn't, and I felt so sorry for them. So I'm gonna get all of these little things away. Now you can see here she's got some hangnails that are trying to make their way, and I tried to get those before they get too crazy for her and uncomfortable, because that's not fun. Let me see any on those. Because that's what, you know, your clients are going to grab hold of and peel, and then they're going to end up with an infection on their corner of their finger and all of that. So the important part when you are getting rid of any hangnails on the side is not to pull. If when you go to cut, your nippers are really dull, you could end up with giving them that kind of infection situation. So don't pull. Nip is okay. Pulling, not okay. One of my clients became a teacher at the local school. So I've been doing her nails for, oh my goodness, probably 15 years. And she went to nail school, and now she's at the school teaching. So if Miss LeRae's class is watching, hello, hello. She says that she puts on the videos sometimes, which is nice. Shout out to them. All right, just make sure all is well. Okay, that hand is done. So you'll see that I kind of, sometimes I'll go from one hand to the other and then back to the other hand, because now when I go to file, I'll be starting with this hand again. So it's kind of back and forth, and it's not a requirement. It's just saving on time sometimes, just to not have to switch back and forth. And to be real, like I have clients sometimes that are in the middle of a phone conversation for work or whatever, and it's easier for me to just continue working on the same hand if it doesn't set off my mojo. So, I mean, lots of things have happened in this chair. People planned all kinds of big events, you know, and I'm fine with it as long as it's during the time when they get one hand to themselves. When I get the hands, when it's time for product, they don't get to touch nothing. So I can be lenient for a while. It's okay. So all of you out there watching, what has been your most popular color scheme right now, or design that people have been asking for? Inquiring minds want to know. I'm curious. I was doing a lot of lavender. So the glitter going out right now is lavender because it was so popular.
And if you see my question, please let us know. Thank you. I obviously missed one.
It disappears so fast. If anyone knows how to make Facebook stop making comments disappear, that would be awesome. But they used to not disappear, but now the comments will disappear like within seconds. And so if you're not constantly touching the screen, you don't see them. So please let us know if we don't see them. Go ahead, Nicole.
Question about Trinity applied with color. I did flash cure and all 5 and did a full cure after. The first nails got cloudy. Did I over cure?
They got cloudy. Well, the Trinity colors have a color to them, but you can't over cure, so that's not going to be the issue. I've never seen it get cloudy. The first nails got cloudy. I have no idea. I've never seen it. Next time you see that happen, take a picture for me because I would be super interested to know. All right, so the answers on what people are doing. Lots of purple, nudes, light pinks. Yeah, we can tap it so it comes back, but it's really obnoxious when you're trying to do a video to constantly be tapping on the screen. So I would prefer it not to have to be constantly tapped. So I miss it when it used to not be like that. It would just be there. And it was much more what I was going for. All right. So she likes kind of a pointy almond.
Daddy said ombres.
Ombres. Ombres are always popular. So I'm going to be doing hers in a vertical ombre, which is really my favorite way to ombre because you can really blend it so nice. And I think it looks really cool. I think it's easier to do because you're dragging down off the nail than doing a horizontal ombre. You're going side to side and you can't really go off the nail quite as easily. So definitely prefer a vertical ombre.
This is lots of light colors, mostly varying shades of purple.
Yeah, purple's popular. I agree. So right now, if you are ordering anything from Love Nails, I think this is the current glitter going out. So if you want some free glitter, that will come in your order. So I love purple too. It's so fun. When I went to do mine like a month ago, my daughter was here. And of course, when your daughter's there and you're like, what should I do on my nails? And you feel like you have to do what they want you to do. So she wanted me to do green. So this is Wink, this pastel green. And then I wanted it to be springy. So I did a bunch of different flower foils. So
Nicole said, okay, will do. It is still cold here in Quebec. And not too springy, so we're doing Fortune or Eternal Green. Michelle said, my Trinity Cool lost its pink tint and is now light apricot color, almost white.
Interesting. If it's been a long time, I know that the pigment in pinks do have a half-life. So if it's, if it's been open for more than, say, 6 months, I would think that might be why it's lost some of its color. I have one that I use on a couple of clients pretty often, and it's still pretty pink, but it's a relatively new pot. I guess it just depends, but I would say it's probably the half-life. So typically you'll find that even on your swatches, the first colors to not look how they really look are going to be your pinks, because the pink in the pigment has a shorter half-life and it will start to fade. So even your swatches, every now and then you'll see from any brand, you'll see pinks will be the first to start to fade. Oh my. Oh. Devin's mom came back and she'd run to the 7-Eleven. She said that there was a car on fire on the way. That's not fun.
Michelle said, that's it then. I used it on myself. The warm and neutral look good.
Yeah. So it's, the warm and the neutral. I really like the neutral. It's my favorite one. It's so, 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 so pretty. And I used it just recently. I have it in my other drawer. So this is the neutral. So those of you watching know what we're talking about. Oh, it needs a stir. So it doesn't get used very often. So if you go to open yours and it looks like that, just very lightly give it a little bit of a stir. And the pigment and gloss will all just settle just fine. See? Very simple solution. No problem at all. It's just the pigment from it sitting for a long time. It's not like I'm using this every day. I maybe use this one once a week. I don't use the colors quite so often. I use mostly clear. So you might see that when you open up yours, and just a quick stir is all it needs. Very simple. All right. Where are we at?
That's it.
That's it.
Got it.
Okay. You struggle so, Bianca says she struggles so much with the horizontal ombre. So what I would suggest when it comes to horizontal ombres is, if you can, see if one of the colors can be a clear base color. So if you're doing, say, a red ombre, a dark red, Diva is a dark red. So if you can use an ombre that has either a clear base or a shimmer to it, it's going to fade much, much, much nicer. Otherwise, it can be pretty tough to fade solid pigmented ombres for sure. What was that one?
Have you had any issues with the grain staining the nail through the base coat, specifically Hope?
I don't do a standard gel manicure. All of my clients do a structured gel manicure, which means I use Trinity for a base coat on all of them, and Trinity doesn't stain, so it's not something that I would see. So unfortunately, I can't answer that because I've never seen it. And I try to not answer things that I haven't actually seen. And when it comes to just base coat color, top coat, I just don't do that in the salon. All my clients are regular clients. And if you have a regular client, it's much better for your regular client to have a hard gel base because it protects their nails better. You can file off their color and you're not constantly soaking their nails. And so it's a much better thing for your clients if you use something like a hard gel, like a Trinity, or another, you know, builder in a bottle type of product that's designed to just stay on the nail, so you're not constantly soaking down to the natural nail. Base coat color top coat is great for clients who are temporary, going on vacation, going to a wedding, something like that. These are the clients that you would want to just do base coat color top coat. If you have a regular client that's coming in once a month, then you want to be using a hard gel base so that you can have the strength and not have to constantly be going down to their natural nail. You want to keep their natural nails protected. All right, hand done.
Like I said, that makes sense. Thank you so much for the tip.
Yes, you're so welcome. All right, so I'm going to check the length on this before I start filing just to make sure. So I'm looking from cuticle to tip, and they're about the same. Perfect. So that means I don't want to take any more length off. So when I'm shaping this, I'm going to be shaping to that spot without taking extra length off because it's already the right length. Those of you very patiently waiting for the nail camp sign up, the guy that's programming my new dashboard is driving me crazy. He finally gave me access to it, and it looks like something out of 1985. It's like, I'm like, really? This is what you're going to give me? I'm like, I may end up just going back to the regular way I was doing it. And I'm like, I paid him a fortune to create me a new dashboard for people to log in and do all this stuff, and it looks terrible. So I might take the programming and see if I can find someone else that can make it look decent so that people can get registered. But I don't want it to be something that looks like something out of 1985. It's really bad and very frustrating. So thank you all for your patience. When we went to Tennessee for spring break, we went to the buy one, get two free boot place. And so me and Jared and Larissa got some boots because this year's theme is boots and bling. And mine are like studded. They're cool. And they're kind of blingy. So I was a fan. We were walking around downtown Nashville, and they had, you know, tons of places to go get boots. So we'd go in one, and I'm like, okay, before we walk into this store, I want you to know that we're not walking out with anything because these boots are going to be way out of our price range. And we went in, took some pictures of some really cute boots. She loves, like, the very colorful, cute designs and stuff. And so we took some pictures of some, but yeah, we're not walking out with any of those. Bling, bling. Hey, Anky. So excited to see you all at camp. We are doing, if you are coming from Puerto Rico or you're Spanish-speaking nail tech, we do have a collection of classes that are going to be in Spanish. We did that in Florida because there are a lot of Spanish-speaking techs down in Florida, but we know that there are also lots of Spanish-speaking techs in Texas, and I believe there are some that are going to be joining us from Puerto Rico. So we will have listed. And I've started working on getting all the classes up. I don't have everything from all the educators yet, but as I get them, I am trying to get things updated. So class information is still subject to change from what is up there, but we have I believe four educators that will be doing Spanish classes. So that's even better than it was in Florida. So that's fun for them. I speak no Spanish. I was robbed. I'm half Puerto Rican. My mom's full Puerto Rican. She grew up in Queens. Very West Side Story. You know, Puerto Rican in Queens in the 50s. And I had told her when I had my daughter, I'm like, don't speak English to her. But my mom grew up in a time when it was really taboo. Like my grandmother, my grandfather, they didn't want her speaking Spanish because, you know, they were from Puerto Rico and they're trying to fit in. And so it was English only, English only. So she grew up kind of feeling like Spanish was like taboo in a way. So she didn't speak Spanish for most of her adult life until she went on a mission to Chile. And they were like, oh, you speak Spanish? She's like, I mean, yeah, but not really. And so kind of was a jumping into fire, got her back into speaking it enough where she's comfortable with it now. But it was always funny because my grandparents would call and go to talk to her on the phone. And I'd be like, they barely speak English to begin with. Why don't you just talk to them in Spanish? And she's like, they won't talk to me in Spanish. So they try to speak their Spanglish. And it was always kind of humorous. Since they could all speak Spanish, it would probably understand each other much better. But
I mean, it's very opposite nowadays.
Right.
People are very much so no want the original.
Right. Totally. Yeah, it was just at the time, it was very, you know, trying to incorporate into the culture of New York. And being a Puerto Rican, they really wanted them to speak good English and, you know, fit in really well and all of that. And so it was just the culture of it. I haven't even gotten to see the new West Side Story yet. I want to. All right, that's a little long on this side. Good. Good.
I'm fine.
And then just a smidge on this one. Okay, that one's quite longer. Oops, sorry, I touched it.
Della said it was the same way for my grandmother growing up. His grandparents wouldn't teach him their native language.
Yeah, it's a bummer, you know, and I was hoping that my mom wouldn't talk to my daughter in anything but Spanish. I was like, don't talk to her in anything but Spanish, and that never worked. So she knows no other languages like I know no other languages. All right, those are ready. Just does that. Okay, so now you want to give them a really good wipe. I am using a combination of about 75% prep and wipe and about 25% acetone. Acetone is a really good dehydrator as well, but I use it mainly because when we go stamping and I go to wipe off the tacky layer, if there's any polish on the nail, it will come off with it as well. So this is typically when I will glance up at my clock and see, okay, looks good. I'm running, and I don't like to use my watch because I would have to flip it all the time. So it's good to have a clock directly behind your client's head on the wall. I actually had to change mine out after 15 years. It was a paper-backed clock. It was weird. And it was like crumbling. And so I was like, Larissa, you could just like draw something really cute for the new background and we'll just take it apart and put a new background on it. And then like getting the little thing out of it was a nightmare. Yeah.
Not an easy project.
No, not at all. So here's Trinity. Trinity Clear is what I use most days in, day out. When I start getting low, I use my lid and I just lean it like that. And that allows the product to kind of run down to the front of the thing. So there's a little trick for that. I'm going to open my drawer. And when I grab my brush, and people ask me all the time, where did my brush go? My brush sits in like a pencil case or like a utensil case in my drawer with my orange wood sticks. So I grab my brush, my orange wood stick at the same time. So it just sits on top of my pile of orange wood sticks, which is great. All right, what does Enki say here in Aruba? Oh my goodness. She speaks 4 languages: English, Spanish, Dutch, and Papamiento. I never knew there was that one. Sujero is watching us. Sujero was just talking about camp. And I believe she's going to come speak and do her class. She does a really good class in Puerto Rico. So I believe she's going to come and do that at camp for our people that would like to attend. All right, so this is Trinity, and I'm just treating it like a thick gloss. I'm barely touching the top of the nail and glossing down. And then I focus on the tip a little bit, make sure there's no excess. It's completely smooth. You can see the line of light just goes straight down the nail. I'm going to flash cure for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. They are new lights. I'm testing the Le Chat lights. So I know you guys have heard me talk about how I have different lights. I do try to test different lights, so when people go, I use this light, is it okay? I actually know. So right now I'm testing the Le Chat lamps, and they're the Luminex, which I sell as well because I sell a lot of Le Chat products. And I really like them. There's a couple reasons. One, it does beep when it goes on and off, which I like because then I know whether it's turned on or off at the time. Also, my clients have noticed that they don't get as hot. So I think it might be slightly less strong than the Akzentz hybrid lamp because they don't get hot after 3 seconds. So with Trinity, typically right around the 3-second mark is when people get hot. So they have to go in for about 2 seconds. And a lot of times people will count just a smidge too long. And I've noticed that this one, they can go in a full 3 to 4 seconds and it will, it doesn't really get hot on them. So that's kind of nice. The one weird thing is it doesn't have a bottom. And so I was really used to, you know, like ones that had a bottom, and if I wanted to take it off, I could just pop it off. This one doesn't, and because it's just weirded me out, I actually went on Amazon, and I think for $8, I bought a sheet of mirror paper, and I just stuck that down on my my shelf where my lamps sit, and now they're sitting on a mirror that is just the entire bottom, which is kind of nice because if I needed to, I could pop it off and put a new one on. Yeah, so it works really well. I didn't know you could get mirror paper, but I was destined to find something because I'm like, this is just weird going on the wood shelf. So my table I made from a couple of IKEA cabinets and a sheet of glass, and then I took some bolts, which you don't want to screw them in, you need to bolt them in. Take a shelf, and once you decide the width of your desk, of how far you want your cabinets to be, then you cut your shelf to size, and then you can bolt it in from the inside of the cabinet, and ta-da, you have a shelf for your lamps. So they hide under the table, which is nice. Hello, Carlette, how are you? You guys look like you had a good time in North Carolina. That looked like a lot of fun. There was a nail tech Marianne, who comes to camp. She's really cool. She's come a couple times, so I've gotten to meet her. I got to hang out with her a little bit in Maine, which was nice. But she rented a place on the water near where she lives and did a nailcation where they hung out and did nails during the day and hung out at night. So it's always fun. I feel like people don't vacation enough as it is in the world, so mixing it with work makes it acceptable, then go for it. All right, go ahead on in. Next hand.
Doing good. I did not want to go home, said Carlette.
Carlette, I did not want to go home. Yeah, I bet it's nice. Okay, so that light, because it beeped, I know it went off, so she very smartly went in, so now it's going to go in for a full cycle, and that's going to let me know that she's totally cured and ready for color.
Jessica said, hi, I'm new. Can you explain everything you're doing?
Hello. How are you? I'm new.
I missed one.
Yeah, that's just Kuwait. I finally purchased 106 brush you're using. It's one of my favorite brushes now. It is the best brush. So yes, I will explain for lovely Jessica what I'm doing. I'm just checking the end right there to make sure that my product is pulled all the way to the end. So you're going to flash cure again for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. All right, so this is my favorite brush, and one of the reasons I use this particular brush for this technique is because it's a flat brush. It doesn't have a belly. So a lot of the time people will tell me, yeah, I try to do your technique, but I always have to finish file. I can't get it as smooth as you. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. The number one thing I ask them is, are you using the brush that I'm telling you to use? Because there are a lot of gel brushes out there that are like the Kolinsky brushes or the number 6 oval brushes, which are lovely gel brushes if you're sculpting a nail and trying to move product around, which is not what I'm trying to do here. I am trying to gloss the nail with this Coat of Trinity, and I'm just making sure the sides look good, and just gloss over the nail. So you're making it way harder on yourself if you are using a brush that has a belly. So when you look at the side of this brush, it's totally flat. A brush that has a belly is going to be rounded. And what happens is when you try to gloss over the nail, it's putting that rounded indent into the nail. So every time you brush down, you're creating a valley and a valley and a valley, and you're not going to be able to get that smooth finish on the nail. So as I'm pillowing towards the cuticle, I'm leaving about a credit card thickness gap. My color is going to fall into that gap, so that's perfect. And then I'm touching the nail up here where my pillow was, and I'm gliding down the nail flat. If you are using a brush with a belly, when you do that motion, you're going to create a valley in the nail, and you're not going to get a smooth finish. So using a flat brush like this is absolutely essential. Don't try using regular gel brushes that have bellies. They won't work the same, and you're not going to be able to do this technique and get a completely smooth surface. Ah, Jotana's so sweet. She says, how are you, girlfriend? She says she loves watching me and learns so much. Hey, Jotana, I'm back at you, girl, because I love watching your videos. I've learned some awesome art techniques from you, too. So I think you do a fabulous job as well. Jotana works with Wildflowers, which is Nail Arts Products. And she does some really fun videos and figures out some new tricks and techniques. So once I gloss over the nail, I'm brushing down the front because I don't want a bump in the front. And often you will see once you brush down, it creates a bump in the front. So just that little bit of motion is just pulling that off the nail so that you get a completely smooth surface. When I have trouble making the gel level, it's because there was a lot of lifting and the nail is not smooth when I started. True. If she had lifting in the corner here, you would just need to get more gel on the nail. So in this part where I am pillowing the nail here and I go to glide, I'm floating on top of the nail. So if there needed to be extra in a spot, it should fall into that. And as long as you're not pressing down your Trinity, it should stay where it's supposed to, but it depends on what gel you're using, obviously. If you're using a runnier gel or a builder gel, there's a little piece of lint there that I'm trying to remove. I feel like I need to have I'm going to have a line of t-shirts that are like gel t-shirts, and one of them's going to say lint happens because... Only a nail tech would get it. So as you can see, I was brushing down on the front. That allows me, if you look from the side, to have a really perfect gloss of a nail. And it's just going to smooth right out. And once it's smooth, you can put it on in. And I always remind them, sometimes they'll forget that take it out after 3 seconds, and then you can put it back in for the remainder. So, time to play with color. All right, lint happens. Encapsulate that shit. I don't like it. You can encapsulate it, but sometimes I'm trying to keep it like thin enough so I can't encapsulate them, and I would have to make the nail like thicker. So I just got to get it out. And I don't finish file. So if I'm finish filing, it's fine. But because I don't finish file, it doesn't really work. All right, I was just kind of wiping my poor little bottles off because, as you know, they get gunky. So these are the two colors we are going to be using today, Calm and Endless. So, and I don't think you have a preference which one I start with.
No. Okay.
She's easy, you guys. Don't you love clients that are easy? All right. So what we're going to be doing is solid, ombre, ombre, solid, ombre. So I'm going to go solid pink with my Endless. And because I left that little bit of a gap, this is where I can push that gel right into that gap, and that's going to give it that really smooth finish. And as the nail grows out, this is how we're going to end up with getting not a big thick ridge. You know, if you have product, and then, nope, I don't want to do that side. I'm going to keep it on.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
Because I want to flow it. Blue, pink. I'm going to have to do, what?
You can just do the one fade pink.
And then I'll fade this one. All right. Okay. We came up with a solution. Blue, blue, blue. No, blue on this side. It's in my brain, trying to make it happen on the nail. And we'll ombre this one too. So again, you guys see that little bit of a gap there? Your product isn't going to lift because you don't have anything there. You don't need to worry about that. So just want to get in there as close as you can. And this is Calm. I really like Calm. It's a light blue that has just a smidge of green in it. So Breathless is your very light blue that has absolutely zero green in it. And this one has just a little bit, which I think for this kind of cloudy sky situation, we're going to go, it's going to be really pretty. Blend together.
What is the pink you were using?
The pink is called Endless. It's from Luxio. It is a great, great medium pink. Not super, super bright, not super, super light. Just kind of a really nice middle of the road. It's a little bit too much on my brush. And this doesn't need to be perfect, you guys. I'm just trying to get it about half of the nail. Then I'm going to take my handy dandy ombre brush, which I have two, and they are different. So I have the Ugly Duckling ombre brush, and I have this one, and I just want to show you the differences. So the one from Profiles has longer hairs, and there's not very many of them, whereas the one from Ugly Duckling has a lot more hairs. For this one, I think I'm going to use this one. So just kind of depends on what I'm doing. Will depend on which one I try first. And if I decide that it's not working how I want it to, I'll switch. All right. Jessica White says, it's my favorite kind of ombre, and she's been doing it since I did hers. I loved her nails. I did her nails in Maine, and they were so pretty. I would look at that picture and go, I really like those. So we're doing it almost all the way over on this one. So it's covering quite a bit of the nail with the fade. And just start in the middle and go side to side. It's really not difficult, which is nice. And I'm just using my wipe here just to wipe it off. And this is the first coat. There'll be a second coat. I want to get a little bit more color on this side here. And we'll go here. But you guys can see how much easier it is than be able to just go straight down than it is when you've got to go side to side. I love the effect. And with these two colors, it makes kind of a purple in the middle, which is really pretty. And again, we're going to be doing a second coat. So now what I did notice is that I took so long that my blue ran into the cuticle. So I'm going to take my orange wood stick and just very carefully make sure that that is out. Because it's pain when it's there. All right. So, ombre. Okay.
Well, the ombre says Della?
Delia. I know, I always feel like I'm messing it up. Oh, there's things to read.
I have a problem with many of the Luxio polishes pulling away from the tip/edge of the nail, parentheses, using Trinity. I make sure to shake polish well.
Maybe mix your polish with a spatula. So if it's been sitting a long time, you haven't been using much, or it's never really been properly mixed, I will find that using a spatula will make a huge difference. So put your little spatula into your bottle, give it a little stir, give it a little shake, and you're not going to have to do that again for a really long time. But I've found that sometimes it really needs better than what shaking or pounding or anything can properly do, is to actually mix it with your spatula. So if it's one that has separated, or I'm getting shrinking, or I see pearlescent in the bottle when I lift it up, I will get my spatula out, give it a quick couple of spins with that, and mix it good. It happens with some colors more than others. So like I used Tiffany the other day, and it was really separated, which I remember has always happened with with Tiffany. And I think it's because of it being, I think it's the pigment in it. I mean, the formula otherwise is always going to be the same. Our chemists are making, the same product every day. So it's the pigments that end up changing how something works, and whether it separates a lot or not. So if it does, I use the spatula. All right. And pull. Really pretty, really simple.
Talia, what ombre brush are you using?
So I'm using the Profiles one. So I sell this on my website. It has a nice, it's not as many bristles as the Ugly Duckling one. So, got it. So it works really well for a technique like this where I'm just trying to drag a little bit at a time. So yeah, this is the Profiles one. Oh. It's like this finger touched something linty. But I know you're well behaved. You didn't touch anything. But it's like it wanted to.
I tried.
Okay. Just check all these. I'm just checking when I'm looking around the cuticle just to make sure all is well. And this one, sometimes, again, this is a pigment thing. I feel like these turquoisey blue pigments do kind of shrink a little bit. So you kind of have to babysit them if you're waiting a long time before you put them in. All right, back to pink. Endless. And it's a 30-second cure. So what you could do is that you could always do your solid nails and get it in the light and work on the other hand and do the other solid nails and then go back to doing your ombre. So maybe I'll do that for the second coat just to make sure if there is any shrinking, it's not going to affect what I'm going for here. So also shrinking sometimes has to do with the shape of their nail. I've noticed that depending on how much someone's C curve will depend on some of the shrinking situation, which is weird, but I have seen it. So it's been about 30 seconds for me to do those two, which means the other hand has had its first coat cured. And so I'm going to go ahead and switch, and then I can do these solid nails, and then I'll do the ombres separately. So that had just beeped, so it actually was on, it's on a minute timer right now, so it actually had almost a minute while I was doing the other nails. So it doesn't take, you know, any longer to just switch it. Sometimes it's worth it to get exactly what you want. I do need to do a video for you all. I got the stuff out. I have a couple videos that I'm planning to do in the next couple of days. Number one is we did get 3 new base colors. So I do know a lot of nail techs who do a lot of soak off. And they use the colored bases for their entire service. A nice quick service, which is great, because I don't think they're charging a ton. So it's one of those easy to do in and out services. And so Akzentz just came out with 3 more base colors. And I have something very exciting. These have arrived. These are Olena's forms. I've imported them in from Germany for you all. So I'm really excited to use them myself. Check them out. They have guides here for your teddy bear. So I'm really, really excited about those. So I'm getting those up on the website, and we will show you how to use those. Okay, so I just noticed that this little bit here seeped, and I'm going to just smooth that out real quick before I top coat. There we go. Okay. Ombre number 2. So, Luxio does have quite a lot of stabilizers in it. When we were developing Luxio a million years ago, shellac was getting developed at the same time. And so they were launching shellac, and we were going to be launching like the same show. And they decided to wait because they wanted to see what came of shellac, what problems people might have been having. And they were the first, you know, the first gel polish was coming out. And so we had it, we were testing it at the same time that shellac had already come out. And some of the main problems were things like you've got to shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. And wrinkling problems, which is a solvent issue, so we didn't have to worry about that. But they didn't want to have to constantly make people shake their gel polish, every client. And so they purposely added a lot more stabilizers into Luxio so that doesn't happen. However, if your color is sitting there for a month and it hasn't been used, then all bets are off. You're probably going to have to give it a really good stir or shake. But for the most part, they have a lot of stabilizers. Because we have our own team of chemists at Akzentz. They're out of Vancouver, Canada, if you did not know the story. But we have these really very excited young chemists straight out of college. I think they get them before they get into some other career. And their degrees are in cosmetic chemistry. So this is what they do. And they worked with product development to create our new products and make the mixtures of the ones that we already know and love. Which is how I'm able to talk them into making me more natural. So, a lot of you know, and if you've seen my old videos, natural was what I used for fills for years before they told me they were discontinuing it, and I had a big cry, and then had to figure out what the heck I was going to do, and I started using Trinity and actually discovered that Trinity was even more amazing because I didn't have to use any primers, I didn't have to use any bonders, I just go straight to Trinity. So I was really stoked about that, but I still really like using natural. There's it Bigland? I see it. I still really like using natural for an extension because it has a harder feel to it, which is just a little different. You know, I like, it's what I like. So I will often use natural still for extensions, and because they weren't making it anymore, I had to bake them. And so I get the chemist to make me a batch here and there. And so just got more back in stock. It's one of our old UV formulas, and Akzentz pretty much only does the UV LED formulas now. So that's why they discontinued it. They have to get the product in to be able to make it for me to begin with. So it's very nice of the chemist to make us our gel that we so very much love. Because I know there's a lot of nail techs out there that still use it. I was getting a lot of, when's it going to be back? While I was waiting for my batch. So I'm happy to say it's back. So easy vertical fade. And then we're going to throw some cute little, just want to make sure this blue is covering this over here. Grabbing a little bit of blue on my brush, just to make sure that we get full coverage on the side. And blend it in. Hers always tend to pull away just from the sides here, though, I've noticed. I don't know if it's the shape of her nail, but it's not something I don't see. It happens, but that's okay. All right. Hello to all of you still hanging out with us. We are just finishing up the ombre, and then we're going to move on to a cute little stamping plate that she picked out. It's super convenient that I have all the plates here. When a client looks on my store and says, I want this one, I can just go get it. You guys, I know, don't have that luxury. So if you have clients that have a design that they want that might require something you don't have them look early. That's helpful, right? But we've picked, what is this one called? Fun? It's just an F. Doodle something. This cute little plate. I'll show you guys. Fun doodle? Fun flowers and doodle? I can't remember.
Flower and sky doodle.
Flower and sky doodle. That is the plate that she found. So we're going to do like little cloudy skies on her nails. All right.
Is there a way we would be able to add like maybe like colors on the stamps?
Sure. Are those stars in there too? On the...
There are on these ones, but if you'd rather just do like that as a star, and that's totally fine by me. Whatever's easiest for you.
I think we had a...
Delia said, one of my clients coming up this week wants Alice in Wonderland themed nails.
Oh my. What does that... I wouldn't know where to start with that.
Deck of cards, maybe like ace, spades, queen, hearts, that type of thing.
Queen of Hearts, yeah. We did a Alice in Wonderland virtual escape room. So much fun, let me tell you. It's in Shoreline. And if you have not done a vertical escape, a VR, did I say vertical? A VR escape room. If you have not done a VR escape room yet, I highly recommend it. They are an absolute blast. And we had so much fun. And you're like in the Mad Hatter's garden and you're painting the trees red and like you're doing things that you would do if you were in Alice in Wonderland. And it was so much fun. And it was like, there was 6 of us, and we didn't think we'd be able to get out. We did. Okay, this corner is being stupid. But we love VR escape rooms. If you have not done a VR escape room, you should. They are so much fun. We're going to go try to do a couple more sometime because they're a terrific way to spend an evening. Alrighty. There you go. Okay, so now we are going to get out some white and do some quick clouds. So we usually book, she's good about booking my longer appointment, which gives me an hour and 15 minutes. So it lets me do all these extras. So I would suggest in your appointment book, if you have someone that wears their nails longer or they tend to have a lot of art, you have a way for them to book that extra time. So this is the Flower and Sky Doodle. It has some really cute little flowers and clouds and things like that. There we go. And I'm going to use, so this is from Clear Jelly Stamper. This is a sticky pad, and you can, I just have to have a tricky way to grab that. Give yourself a new sticky start. And Stamper Situation. All right, and white. So what I found is that if I'm going to be doing multiple stamps, it's really important to outshine the nails. So are we just doing the clouds on the ombre ones?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay. So I'm going to put outshine on these. Oh, something was on my brush. There we go. So outshine is the Profiles No Wipe Top Coat. The reason I use this one is because it is like the best base for a stamp. Stamps can be completely dry on your stamper, and this will still grab it 100%. So it's really nice if you're doing multiple, cure. If you're doing multiple stamps on a nail, if it's only one stamp, sometimes I can get away with just doing the one stamp on the one nail, and the sticky layer won't be a problem. But there are definitely times when, if I'm doing multiple stamps on a nail, which this one should be because it's going to be clouds multiple places, that you really need to get a base for that. So outshine is the best. I don't really use outshine for much else because I usually use my other top coats. But for stamping, super important. Okay. So, do you just want the fluffy clouds, or do you want the fluffy clouds with like outlines?
I like fluffy clouds.
Fluffy clouds. Okay, so I'm just going to brush that like that. Do that. Pick up fluffy clouds. Cute little fluffy clouds. And then you want to use a wipe. Oh, that was out of frame. Sorry, guys. I will fix my frame situation. We'll do it again. Okay, brush, brush, brush. So the reason, throwing things now. The reason this isn't stamping 100% perfect is because I'm doing it on a table, or I'm doing it on a towel. So I'm going to lift this and get to a hard surface, because having a hard surface is very much better for when you're stamping. And normally I do it in front of me, closer to me, where I don't have the towel. And because I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing, I moved it up, and I need to move the towel. So towel's gone. Now I can get a much better swipe. So if that happens where you pick it up and a part of it's missing, and you don't want to stamp again, you could always, if you wanted to, and I'm just going to show you this just so you guys can see what I mean. If you have a little brush and you want to color it in, and this works well if you like have a design that you're trying to color in and have color in as well, you can always color in the middle of your design, and when it goes through, it's going to be solid. So I like to do that at Christmas time. I have a couple that are Christmas ornaments, and I'll color in the design of how I want it when I do the Christmas ornaments. So that's kind of fun. So I'm going to change where this is a little bit. Little. And then she's got some stars in her design, which I think we'll have to hand do. A little stone. Okay. Typically, the reason there was a void is because my scraper had something on it. If your scraper's clean and everything's good, you should not have too many voids, but you know, it happens sometimes. It is annoying. Okay. How do I want this? I think I'm actually going to do these up there. And I'm going to do it again because I don't want the clouds to look the same on every nail. Oopsies. I'm throwing things today. I'm not very graceful. Graceful is not happening. Devin's so nice. She just sits here quietly. I'm not going to say anything. But nope, you're not.
I mean, I can't agree with you because everything you do is graceful.
Oh, so nice and such a lie. All right, I like those. Let's see if there's anything else that I want to do. Change clouds, add clouds. All right, so then switch hands to this one. Nope, it just needs to air dry. We'll do all these, and then I'll do the little stars, and then we'll top coat, and then we will do stones. All the things. All the things. Something on my little... There, I got it off. So sometimes if I'm ending up with the voids, I'll turn it and see if I can do it a different direction. See if that will help. It's the same one. That one. It's voiding out a little bit here and there. But it's all right. Still two clouds on here. Can turn it and decide. And if you're worried that you're going to transfer, no, it's not going to stick to mine. I don't have the special top coat currently on my nail. Let's see, is that one good enough? Okay. Okay. So now she wants some little starbursty things. So I've got to get a really fine brush. Put my stamping things away. So this brush is not quite good enough. And also I have polish on it now, so I gotta clean that off. I need a very fine brush. I have one in mind. Okay, so this is a brush I actually cut down. So this is a Akzentz #3 brush. Hold on, let me get a different light. So this is the Akzentz Art #3 brush, and I cut it in half. So it's a great liner brush, but I wanted less bristles, and so I cut bristles off. I mean, I don't know that you're an artist or you don't cut some of your brushes. So I wanted them really, really fine. Do you guys see how that's like almost nothing? So I'm actually just going to go ahead and use the polish that we used. So she just wants some of these little starbursty things. So the trick to doing tiny, tiny, tiny art like this is to use your fulcrum finger, which is to balance your pinky so that you're not shaky, because otherwise we're all shaky beasts. And this is just a base for crystals, so she's gonna have, there's a little bit too much on that brush. But
This is a polish on top of gel.
this is a polish, yeah, this is just a regular polish. You can use Line It, which is our gel pot. I would just, for the sake of, I already had this out, I just am using this. If I didn't have this out and I had done something else, I probably would use something else, but that way this white exactly matches her stamping as well. Are you wearing your hair red? Do we need to put the no stain top coat, or are you fine with regular top coat?
I won't be red until August, so we are good.
Oh, you're good with regular top coat. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate you for asking.
So yeah, she wears her red suit or her hair super, super red sometimes, and it will stain. So I just wanted to make sure we're not going to be staining her clouds red. So I'll just use regular gloss. So the thing that's tricky about regular polish is that it does start to dry on you, and then things just don't work quite as perfectly. I am not, nor have I ever claimed to be a fantastic hand painting artist. So it's kind of one of those you get what you get situations. But again, this is just a base for where we're going to put stones, so it's fine. All right, so we are now going to top coat. I'm using Luxio Gloss. It's going to be perfectly fine on the nails that don't have top coat on them, and it's not going to shrink. But on the ones where I used Outshine, it's quickly going to start pulling away. And that happens anytime you don't have a tacky layer, or obviously you're putting a top coat over the top of there's a piece of black lint. Definitely not invited to the party. So what I will typically do is I'll do a nail and then flash it for a few seconds and then do the next nail, because then it will prevent it from shrinking. But when I go to top coat this, you will very quickly see it try to shrink up away from where I'm putting the top coat. So get it on there, get it top coated, freeze for a few seconds, literally like 1, 2, and then out, and that's all she needs. So it's a very quick flash freeze, but it will prevent your top coat from shrinking. And if you've done Outshine or top coat before you do that, you will see it shrink away from the cuticle if you don't do that. So super important to just give it 2 seconds, and then you can come back out and do the next one. And now this is the last nail, so she'll be able just to keep this in. But see right here? See in that corner? You guys see in the line of light? That's what I mean by it shrinks. It does it very quickly. So right before you go in the light, check it all around and then put it in. Mucho importante. So I'm going to do the ones that aren't going to shrink first. Yep, just put it in for one cycle. So these ones are good. No shrinking possible. Okay, now I'm going to do shrinking ones. So this is going to be where I put it in and flash it. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. Did I hit that? I did. This is why I usually go from that side to that side, because you are more likely to hit the other nail. So now I'm going to double check this, make sure it didn't start shrinking already. Nope, it's good. So that's why I always start from left to right, is because I'll very easily bump into the wrong nail. And one client who thought it should be funny, she was like, no, I want you to start on this side this time. I'm like, no, you don't. She goes, no, I do. I want to mess up your process. I'm like, okay, but my process has a reason. Like, so let's not mess up the process. Again, get that all on there cute. Okay. Cute. Okay, so, oh, Tammy, thank you. That's so sweet. She said she loves my work and she loves Trinity. All right, so this is fully cured. I'm going to give him a good wipe. Oh, you love the squeak. The squeak means shiny. So that's nice.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And because this has acetone in it, this is why I have the 25% acetone in this wipe mixture. Because as I remove her tacky layer, it will also remove any polish that got onto her fingers. So it's kind of a dual 2-in-1. Plus, it's actually, acetone is a really good dehydrator. So it's really good for when you're prepping. All right, so now I'm going to do my finish, which is always to go around from underneath and check the sidewalls. Make sure no top coat moved on there. Make sure my shaping is correct. Sometimes your polish can be get it a little bit wonky shaped. So I always go around the edges. You don't have to worry about breaking a seal. That's a lie told to you by companies whose product doesn't stay very well. So I do this every time. And if you can't file the nails with it being without it being a problem, then that's not good, because what if your clients file their nails in between, if they're too long or whatever. So there's a little tiny smidge of top coat there. This is one of the reasons I do that. Also comes underneath. There was a little bit of product that seeped under the tip of her nail. So to bring that back so that it's straight out and get a good smooth surface. There's no C-curve when you wear a pointed almond, so you just come straight out from underneath to make it all how it's supposed to be. All right, so these ones are ready for crystals. Wipe this one off. Squeaky shiny. I love when it's squeaky shiny. So over here, you can see how it's a little bit bumpy right there. I'm just going to very lightly get that with my file and smooth that out. Okay, you don't have to be afraid to do such a thing. These are real world nails, real time, real situations. Go all the way up to the sides, all the way down. So there was a little bit over here that was not smooth. It's smooth now. So I really like this step. I know it is an extra step finishing the nail like this, but I find that you get a much sharper finish on your nails. You know, clients get that, oh, I feel like I can scratch feeling a little bit right at the beginning, because they're really, you get that feeling after you've finished them properly.
I can 100% attest to that.
Every little thing has a reason, and this is, you know, having a smooth finish and that nice sharp finish at the end is really nice for them. All right, that one's good. So this one is ready for crystals. All right, so I'm going to get out my Schtik It. Schtik It is a crystal gel from Ugly Duckling. It is amazing, and I love it. Schtik It. My little handy dandy. It's gotten dusty. Shocking. Things get dusty around here. And we're going to get some crystals out. So I think we're going to go with these ones, which is Ugly Duckling, and these are an Aurora Borealis, which I know she's smiling, so we know it.
Baby.
She loves it. So I'm going to go ahead and drop these into here. Okay, this is Schtik It. This is amazing stuff, and she wears crystals every time, just about. Didn't this last time, but just about every time she wears crystals. And how do they stay?
With the Schtik It.
Amazing.
Every single time I come in, I have a full set of rhinestones, which is
and she goes
bonkers.
A month. Yeah, she goes a month, so they stay really, really well. So it's going to look cloudy a lot of time. Cloudy is fine. If it's really cloudy and difficult to use, warm it. Either put it on a heating pad. You can sit on it. It doesn't take a lot of warmth and heat to have this go clear and to make it a little bit smoother and easier to use. I'm fine with it like this, but if yours is cloudy and difficult to use, just get a little bit warm. It'll change everything. I have a client that will love this. I'm going to have to get those colors from you at the one show. I will have them. Yeah, aren't they so cute? She had a cute design this time. I haven't done this design. You know, you see a lot of Pinterest, and people come in, and sometimes you see the same ones, and you do them over and over again. But this was one that I had not seen. So I'm just taking, this was a little bit too much. I usually don't drop on that much. I'm trying to be very particular this time because we have spots for them exactly, whereas usually they go into a little spot in the cuticle or something. I have created little places for crystals this time. Okay, I'm going to drop my little Schtik It in each spot. And I'm using my number 6 art brush. I really like, this is a really good brush for if you do 3D acrylic. I know there's not a lot of that going on right now. It's a very, when it's in the trend, we're all doing it type of thing. But I like the point on this brush for doing my Schtik It. So this is my favorite brush for applying Schtik It. So in my drawer, I have my Schtik It, my tray, and my katana in the same place. So when I go to do crystals, I grab them. Oh, I have a thumb too. Let's do the thumb. So I'm doing a ball that's just a little bit bigger than maybe the crystal. I want the crystal to sit into the ball. I'm not going to put one on the very tip actually because she'll lose it in a hot minute. Very tips of nails with crystals don't mix. All right, so drop it, wiggle it just a smidge, and leave it. Drop it, wiggle it a smidge, and leave it. So when Akzentz has bling on, they will tell you, oh, you got to go around around the edges with a shine on. You can. I've found that this stuff works so well without having to do that. So we usually don't, yeah? Right? Yeah. She's like, I don't know, I'm looking at sparkle. Mm-hmm. But I usually can just put the crystals straight on the Schtik It without having to do anything else, cure it, and they will stay beautifully. I'm gonna have to get some more of these. Some little crystals in the light, please.
Thank you.
So is there any more in here? There's 3 more. Okay, good. I was like, uh-oh. We're gonna use them all. Come out, wherever you are. Everybody knows what movie that's from. You do know, right? Your mother.
What is it?
You know what?
Come out, wherever you are.
Is it from Hocus Pocus?
No.
What's it from? The Aunt Wizard of Oz?
There you
I
go.
hate that movie.
I hated that one.
I always cried by myself.
You always cried?
She doesn't like the flying
I always
monkeys.
made them turned off when I was little.
Because they made you cry. That's so funny.
Hurt me though, which was me.
I thought it was the flying monkeys.
Both.
Pick one.
You're like, it's all bad,
Yep.
all scary. That's funny. But you guessed it.
Truly ingrained in her head.
Does it stick better? Let's see. Why didn't you apply Schtik It before you wiped the top coat? Because it's a good question. I guess I could have. I just never do, I guess. It's a really good question. I never have. I always just do it right on the top. I'm sure you can. You're just going to want to make sure you don't mess up your top coat in the process, but yeah, take your pick. But you don't have to, because I do it like this all the time. So you can do it right on to the top coat. I guess because when she's done with this step, I put oil on and wipe it, and she's out the door. So, and then I'm not scrubbing the nail and scrubbing the top coat off because the top coat has a tacky layer. And so I would have to be scrubbing onto the nail that has the tacky. I'm going to have to find some more crystals for your thumb. Just a moment, I shall. Pick up next time. She sees something for next time. What do you see?
I see hollow glitter, and it is eye-catching.
Yes, that's the,
Is it new?
yes, so these are from, Uber Chic. And so they are, she was seeing this for next time. She's like, I see it, fun. Okay, so hold on, I gotta find more crystals.
Cute.
There we go. I do have more. So I have this pave pack with crystals AB from Profiles, which I sell. So if you guys are looking for crystals and you want a multi-pack of different sizes, the pave packs are awesome for that because you get lots of different sizes. And I need some small ones. Oops, thumb.
So this hand's done.
Yes.
Very pretty.
Isn't it? They look gorgeous.
So I just put the crystal on there and I just move it around a little bit. You don't have to do much. And it'll grab onto them. All right, cure. Now I'm going to put these back in here so they don't get messed up.
Before you do that, would it be too much work to do one on these two?
One on the where you usually like them.
The usual.
The usual. So she usually this is where we usually put them, is right here on the base.
I'm so extra, I'm sorry.
It's okay. You didn't want them to be sad and alone. I can go a little bit bigger. What?
I've been getting my nails done from you for over 13 years now.
What?
I started at like 12. I'm 25 now.
Stop it.
That's not scary.
Yeah, don't. I mean, I guess Larissa was so tiny.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's 14. I had to figure out, like, what do I do for her birthday this year? Because I didn't do any summer camps. We didn't find a summer camp for her this year. So I'm like, all right, well, I can use that money towards something. And summer camp's freaking expensive. I'm like, what should I do that will make it worth it that she didn't get to go to summer camp this year? Because I told her to pick one, and she picked a couple, but they were like $4,000. I'm like, yeah, no, try again. And she never quite found one. So I'm surprising her the week before her birthday. I don't think anyone that watches this would tell her. So we'll go to dinner with Jared, which we don't do very often. So I know she's going to know something's up because we never go to dinner. And I'll be like, let's go to dinner. She's like, what? Why? What's going on? But we'll go down, and after dinner, I'll have Jared drop us off at the airport. We have a red eye. And her favorite thing is Broadway. She knows every song of every Broadway show that exists. So I figure we'll go there, and we'll do the thing where if you go really early, you can get show tickets for like $15 if you're there on the day of the show and you go stand in line. So I'm like, we can do that. And I used Miles, got some tickets. I love Miles. Miles are my friend. And so we'll surprise her for her birthday and get to go do Broadway. And I think she's going to just find that so much fun. So I'm not getting any tickets ahead of time. We'll just go. And the day of, I'll just ask her, what do you want to see today? And we'll go stand in line and try to get the walk-up tickets. So
that is going to be a dream for her.
I know.
Oh
I
my gosh.
I think she'll enjoy it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Right up her alley.
It's so up her alley. I mean, she literally knows every single song of every single play. Some of them I don't agree with. Like 6 is the Henry VIII one, which I would think would be fun, but really not appropriate for a 13-year-old. And I'm like,
Not quite yet.
What are they saying? Like this, I'm listening to this music going, are you kidding me? But I'm like, well, it's apparently too late because she knows all of the songs. Yeah. And I'm like, I hope you don't know what all these songs mean. But anyway, she'll be 15, so it'll be her big 15th birthday. So
She might know.
yeah, I know. It needs a little bit more oil in that corner. So I'm using the Cuticle mango oil, which smells delicious. It's like my favorite one right now.
Same.
Thanks to all of you who are still hanging out. I see a number still up in there, so I appreciate you joining me. Here we go. Finished situation, and hope you all enjoyed it. Oh, that one needs a little bit more oil there too. Oil is essential for the end of the service so that you don't have any of those dry spots, let me tell you. See how much better that looks. All right. Thanks for joining me, and I hope I helped you in some way with these techniques, and we'll talk to you guys another time. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.